Hi there, I'm Taylor Henry, owner of Acres U.S.A, and I want to personally invite you out to my farm in Viroqua, Wisconsin for an on-farm intensive this July 11th. If you're raising cattle or just thinking about it and you're tired of high input costs, unpredictable fertility, or animals that just don't thrive, this event was made for you. We're hosting this one-day intensive right here at our farm in Viroqua, Wisconsin, the home base of Acres U.S.A. You'll spend the day with fellow grazers, crop growers, homesteaders, and regenerative farmers, and enjoy great food, real conversations, and a whole lot of practical learning. We've invited 4 of the most experienced and inspiring teachers in the field of regenerative livestock management: Dr. Will Winter, holistic vet and mineral expert; Steve Campbell, low-input genetics and visual livestock evaluation; Gary Zimmer, dairy nutritionist and soil health innovator; Brian Dotery, understanding ag consultant with hands-on integration experience. Whether you're a seasoned rancher, a first-time homesteader, or a crop farmer looking to bring livestock back into your rotation, this event will give you the tools, confidence, and connections to raise better cattle with less guesswork. We'd love to welcome you to our farm, share a meal, and spend the day learning how to build better herds from the soil up.
Farm in a 45-mile circle, and we got a lot of little fields and lots of different small acres, and if we buy a 100-acre farm, we're lucky to have 30 decent tillable acres, and the rest of us woods and pasture and ranchland. That's what we farm. Anyway, this is where I started a business in biological farming. I'm a dairy nutritionist and got into soils to create better feed for cows. I was trained in the Allbrick system back in the 70s, and changing minerals changes everything. And I got some really good pictures of farms that did nothing but change minerals. And their soils are loose and crumbly and healthy. They didn't grow cover crops, they didn't put on compost, and they grow corn and beans. And their soils are unbelievable, but they did change their minerals, and that's how I was trained. You got to earn the right not to do anything. My rules to biological farming are pretty powerful. You deal with the chemistry, the physical, and the biology, and that's what you deal with, all 3 of those. So what's your constraint? What's your limiting factor? That's why I said biological farming. A lot of guys come back and they start this thing. They said, "Wow," he said, "never thought farming could be so fun."
I was born into a wheat farming family in Kansas. And I used my growing up as an example of how not to farm. So then I went to college, 4-year degree in livestock nutrition, 4 years, more years of vet school, then a graduate program. What did we learn? I learned how to be a drug peddler in vet school. I was basically a drug salesman. And when we go to a meeting, "Hey boys, we got a new antibiotic. Hey boys, we got a new vaccine. Hey boys, we got a new wormer." And then if you'd ever ask, "Well, what about that wormer we used last year?" "Oh, well, we don't use that one anymore." So my turning point, I read a book by Juliet de Berkeley-Levy, The Herbal Guide to Farm and Stable, and I was unemployable as a veterinarian. I couldn't do any vaccine. I couldn't give antibiotics. I couldn't do chemical wormers. I was worthless for vets, so I had to start my own holistic vet hospital. That was in 1980. And I ran that until 1999. Then I'm out in the field now, and at my age, a lot of people say, "How come you're not playing golf and getting stupid pants and all that?" And I said, "Are you kidding? I'm at the top of my game right now. I'm at the prime of my career. I actually know stuff now, and I have no fear. Throw me anything. Give me the hard stuff. We have now answers, and I haven't used any drugs. These hands have not held a syringe of antibiotics or vaccine since 1999 officially. This stuff is hard. You need friends, you need allies, you need people to tell you you're not crazy to do this stuff, because your neighbors will tell you you're a lunatic.
The first person you told me I had to get in contact with was Steve.
Steve has an eye. He has. That's the biggest thing I would say. One of your biggest gifts. You have an eye for cattle. When you work with Steve over a long period of time, you will gradually move your herd into that. 80% of your herd are going to be the ones that make meat, that make high top dollar meat, and that make you money.
I was born in New Meadows, Idaho on a ranch. I broke my right ankle really bad in 1999 in a horse accident, and they said, "You're going to have to get a desk job. You won't be able to walk around." And 10:30 in the morning, December 12th, 2002, I went in to see a different kind of a doctor. He was a chiropractor, a certified applied kinesiologist, but an expert in nutrition, and he said, "Stop eating those inflammatory foods, start eating these non-inflammatory foods." And within 10 days, the pain in my right ankle went away. When I saw what eating right could do for my own health. It's like, well, how does that work in the soil? How does that work in the plants? How does that work in the animals? And so I really started going down these parallel tracks of soil, plant, animal, and human health. If we don't take care of the biology, we're always working for our dirt instead of our soil being working for us.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Doherty. I'm from Northeast Iowa originally, grew up on a family dairy farm, and went to community college and came back and took over the farm in a partnership with my brother. Actually, working with family is one of the most challenging consulting experiences you'll have, because there's the family dynamic part of that as well. So that it's really helpful, working with other clients to have that, farming experience to draw from. So I've kind of been there, done that. I understand what it's like, the stresses involved in day-to-day production. So we're not just there to just basically tell them what to do. We're there to help them understand the decisions behind what they do and what effect they have on the farm and how that could be affecting their bottom line. So in the long run, what they should expect is hopefully a more profitable farm, and also just a more enjoyable, lower stress way of farming. The reason I decided to become a consultant is because I was a conventional farmer. It wasn't until after I left the farm that I actually started to learn about soil and how soil functions and how all of these things that I was seeing happen on the farm, I didn't understand them at the time. It wasn't until after the fact, and so that kind of bothered me, like, how come nobody ever taught me this? Why did I not know this when I was farming? And there's so many decisions I would have made differently, or things I could have done better had I had that knowledge. So what drives me as a consultant is I don't want that to happen to another farmer. I want to be there to help give them that guidance and explain how soil works, how ecosystems function, and how they can use that information to make their farming operation better, so they don't make all the mistakes that I made. Like I said, I've been through a lot of this on more conventional management myself. I've been there, done that, made the mistakes. I've felt the pain. I understand the challenges people are going through. So I just want to be there to basically make farming fun again.